All right, guys, shocking news. This is the most shocking thing that I've seen as far as news related to the real estate industry all year long. It could be wrong, but I asked him to get prepared for today's video, and I said, hey, man, let's talk about the long-term interest rates. Like, what are they expected to be like next year, the year after, the year after? And he emailed me this it was an image, and I'm going to share my screen and show it to you, but I was absolutely shocked. And I'm going to talk to Tim Murphy about what he thinks about this, and then we're going to talk about the ramifications. So here it is, guys. How you doing, Tim?
After seeing this slide, I'm not sure there, brother. Whoa, man, 9.55.
I think we're going to be okay, but I think this is pretty shocking. And what you can see down here is 9.55%, which is at the end of 2026. This is not 2022 by any means, but this is a Lending Tree forecast. Tim and I are not financial advisors. We don't play one on TV. Tim is a licensed mortgage lender. He does play one on TV as well. And so this is like the forecast for 2022. And I'll just zoom in real quick so we can see fives and then a dip to four and then stays in the fives, which is great. But then as we get into 2023 and then 2024, we're at 8.5%. So Tim, what is up with this? Do you think this is real? What do you think the ramifications are? Like, what's going on?
Well, first of all, you see it says forecast, right?
Right.
I mean, who knows? I mean, it's based on inflation. It's based on the economy. It's based on the current trade war. It's based on Russia, Ukraine. There's so many factors involved. So, but I think it's an indication that there is concern overall about inflation. There's concern about the direction of interest rates. There's concern about appreciation in housing. So, Brian, what's it tell me? It tells me that, right now, some folks are on the one side are saying, hey, rates are going to continue going up. Other folks are saying, 18 to 24 months, and it's more of a wait and see. We just got to play it out.
Okay. So let's just say, for instance, this is real.
Right.
And rates go to 7%. They're predicting this 7.6 by the end of next year.
Correct.
What do you think that's going to do? And before I say that, let me just say that Tim and I have a little bit of a differing opinion on this. I have a little more of a pessimistic view on things because I feel like one of the reasons I say that is I was doing some research for this video, 2019 versus June 2022.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A cost of a house in the form of a payment, not the house itself, but if you just take the payment, which includes the interest rate and the house price together, is 75% higher in just 3 years.
Right.
Now, Tim and I have done tons of videos on this. We all know 1% of your interest rate represents 10% of your mortgage payment. Every percent it goes up is 1% is 10%. Yeah. So if we're at 75% over 2019 and we go one more year and it jumps up another 20 or 30%, now we're looking at 100% increase inside of 4 years of what a house cost. And that wouldn't be a big deal if house prices were at historic lows where people were, we're talking 2009, where you could still buy a house for $79,000. Like that didn't exist in 2019. As a matter of fact, we had talked about the crash in 2019 because we had been through a historic sort of like every 5 years, house prices go up and down. We were at 10 years at that point, and now we're getting close to 15 years. So I'm a little more pessimistic than Tim. I feel like that's going to be maybe a bad thing. Tim, what do you think, man?
Brian, I've talked about this. We look at a couple factors. Number one, inflation is up, but people's incomes are going up as well. Yep. Okay, so you got to factor that in, number one. Number two, look, they're not making a boatload of houses. In fact, there's a severe shortage still and projected to be for the next 10 years. That tells me there's not going to be a quote unquote crash. There might be some leveling off of appreciation, but quite frankly, you know what? People got to live somewhere, Brian. They got to have a roof. And so what
Yes.
that tells me is we got a great tax advantage. We still got the benefits of home ownership. It's kind of like a 401k in a way, and people are going to shift their resources to be able to afford their home. And quite frankly, to me, I see long-term stability because of it.
Okay. So Tim, your point is people are going to figure it out. There might be a leveling off is the term you use. You don't see a crash.
Correct.
I'm going to agree with you on that statement. I don't think that there will be a crash, but I think that I think we're knocking on the door of something that could be negative. And here's what I mean by that. House prices have gone up so far, so fast. And
Right.
now with interest rates sort of knocking out 50% of the buyers immediately when they hit 6%, and
Sure.
we'll see what happens when they get to 7 or people have had time to adjust. But I think that at some point there could be a reckoning of house prices because you're talking 100% inside of a short amount of time. At some point, somebody might decide, hey, you know what? I don't want to pay that. And house prices come down. And that's where I feel like if we saw a 15 or a 20% correction, not a 10%, but a 15 or a 20% correction in house prices, we could start to knock on the door of a problem because then people can't sell their house anymore. People start to get resentful. Hey, my house isn't worth what I paid. And then they want to do some short sales. And I think that could be an issue, but I don't think that even a 10% adjustment is going to matter because the only people that would affect is anybody who bought in the past 12 months.
Correct. And Brian, you nailed it right there. The other thing you said was, look, at the end of the day, where are they going to go? If we have a house, we buy into it. We've got stability. We've got the school systems. We're kind of bought in. I think it's going to create more stability. I think less people are going to be moving from that perspective. I think it's still going to create a long-term inventory shortage. And
Yeah.
quite frankly, I look at it from a different perspective. I see all of that equity that's built up for the last 2 or 3 years. How many of our clients, have doubled their investment, doubled their dollars, if you will, or tripled their dollars, as you
Yeah.
pointed out?
Only if they sell it though.
That's correct. Sell
Right.
it today.
Right.
But you and I both know clients that bought houses 20, 30 years ago, they've paid the loan in full. The house is worth 2 or 3 times what they
Yeah.
paid for it over the long haul, assuming a 3% appreciation. That three hundred
No, and it's
thousand
been
dollar
higher
house
than
is worth
that. And
seven
so
hundred
your point
thousand.
is there's
Yeah,
long-term stability in buying a house. It's a good
big time.
investment. It's a wise financial decision. I don't disagree with all that. You also made the point, people are always going to need to move. We're shooting this video from Southern Maryland.
Sure.
We're in a very economically stable place.
True
If
that.
our economy is completely destroyed, that means the government has gone bust and we're all going to build an ark or we're going to be in the Walking Dead, so it won't matter. So I think that to your point, Tim, there's not a reason to be concerned, and I was trying to paint a picture of at what point we would be concerned. And I feel like that the issue where you have a 3% interest rate and then you're going to jump up to a 7% interest rate is going to give people some serious reservations. The problem you're going to find, because the second option there would be to rent, you're going to find rent is also going up. So I think it's going to be uncomfortable. I think
Right.
it's not going to be pleasant. Like we've been through some pleasantness where it's
I
like,
agree.
hey, I
I
could
agree.
sell my house, make $100,000, get a 3% interest, buy a McMansion, and have a lower payment. Like, who doesn't love that? Now we're kind of in the opposite. We're going to buy, an equal or smaller house, pay way more money. It's going to be more painful. But to your point, Tim, I don't think it's going to stop anything. I don't think there's any reason for anybody to do anything drastic. So I think the moral of this video is don't be concerned. However, don't assume that everything's going to be great moving forward.
Well,
Maybe.
and Brian, the other side of the coin is, look at the benefits still long term of ownership. You and I both talked about that. Look, everybody I've ever had that has bought their home and stuck it out, it's always been a win-win. You
That's
know,
true.
I
I mean,
remember,
there were a lot of
yeah,
people that bought in 3, 4, 5, 6 that had to wait all the way till 18, 19, 20 to sell their house just to break even. But once they got past 19, 20, 21, it did get good. And that's a small window too. And we're only
sure.
talking about that anybody else who bought has been able to. So that's it, guys. I think no need to be concerned, even though 9.55% by the end of 2026 is terrifying. I'm just glad I took Tim's advice a couple years ago and I bought a house. I'm good. That sounds a little selfish, but to your point, Tim, people are going to adjust.
Right. Correct.
All right. Thanks, Tim.
All right, man. Catch you later, brother.